Hold on a second. Before we dive into part 2 of Kira's journey, tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your country and local time in the comments. This isn't fiction. Kira's story really happened. Every chapter matters. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. Sharing this story isn't just support. It could save someone from falling into the same trap. Thank you for being part of this mission. Now, let's continue Kira's story. My new life did not last long. Soon all the money was gone. My small shop was my new hope, but nobody came to buy my things. The fear of being hungry again was real. My stomach started to hurt just like it used to. Then the owner of my house gave me a notice. I had to pay the rent, or I would be back on the street. I felt trapped and so scared. There was only one person who could help. I had to call Lena. I promised myself, this will be the very last time. I found her number and my hand was shaking. I did not want to make this call. Each time the phone rang, I felt sicker. Finally, she answered. Her voice was calm and happy, like she knew I would break. "Hello, Kira. I have been expecting you," she said. I tried to make my voice strong, but it came out quiet and weak. "Lena, I will do it. I need the money," I told her. After I hung up, I just stared at the wall. The horrible life was waiting for me, and I was choosing to walk back into it. The next morning, Lena came to get me in her fancy car. The drive was quiet. I did not want to talk, and she did not try. I just stared out the window. My stomach was in knots. Soon I saw the big, beautiful house again. The last time I was here, I thought it was a paradise. Now I saw it for what it truly was. It was not a home. It was a cage. A very pretty cage, but still a cage. The beautiful flowers in the garden seemed to mock me. I felt sick with dread. Lena led me into the big living room where the men were waiting. They all stopped talking and stared at me with cold, hungry eyes. The boss said his dogs were happy to see me again. 2 guards took me down the hall to the same empty room as before. As they turned to leave, one of them, a younger guard, stepped back inside. He looked around very nervous. "Why did you come back here?" he whispered. "This business is much more dangerous than you know." Before I could answer, he hurried out and locked the door. His words echoed in my mind. More dangerous than you know. What did that mean? What could be worse than what I had already done? A new kind of fear, colder and sharper, washed over me. I started to think about Lena. She brings girls here, but has she ever done this terrible job herself? I don't think so. She just takes a cut of the money. She is a partner, not a victim. I finally understood why she never seemed scared. She was safe. I was the one in real danger, and I didn't even know why. I did not have to wait long. The door opened again. The same 2 big dogs walked in, and the men followed right behind them. My body went cold. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. They did the same terrible things as the first time. The guard's warning played over and over in my head. More dangerous than you know. It was happening again, but this time it felt worse because the little hope I had was completely gone. When it was finally over, they left me on the floor, broken. The fear was deeper now. After they left, the lock clicked shut. I was alone in the quiet, empty room. One of the men told me they would be back in the evening for another session with the dogs. I curled up on the mattress, hugging my knees to my chest. I felt dirty and so used, less than human. I promised myself this would be the very last time. The money was not worth this feeling. I had to get out of this place. I didn't know how, but I would find a way to escape this house for good. A couple of hours passed. The door opened again. 2 guards walked in, and they were dragging another girl with them. She was in chains, on her hands and her feet. Her face was a mess of bruises, and one eye was swollen shut. Her clothes were ripped. They pushed her roughly into the room, and she fell to her knees. They locked the door and left us alone. I looked at her, and I saw my own future. This is what happens to girls who fight back. I was looking at my own death. Her name was Zara. I moved closer to her. Her voice was just a dry whisper. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "This is not a business. It is a dark ritual." The guard's warning came back to me. Now her words confirmed it. This was a satanic church. The dogs were part of their evil plan. "We are not just girls they use," she said, her one good eye filled with terror. "We are the sacrifices. They will kill us on an altar." My whole body went cold. The real danger was finally clear. We were going to die here. I looked at Zara's bruised and broken body, and my own fear turned into something else. It was no longer just about escaping. It was about surviving. I came here for money to stop my suffering, but this was a different kind of suffering. This was not about an empty stomach. This was about my life. I was just a product to these men, something to be used up and thrown away. I understood now that my life meant nothing to them. I was just another girl, another sacrifice waiting for her turn. This was my new reality. When the guards came back in the evening, something inside me snapped. I stood up and screamed, "I will not go with you. I am not an animal for your rituals." They just laughed. Their laughter was a harsh, mocking sound. One of them grabbed my arm so hard it felt like it would break. The other one pointed his gun at my head. Zara cried out, "Please, Kira, don't fight them. They will kill you." They pushed me out of the room. It was no use. I was just a prisoner. I knew Zara was right. Fighting them openly was a stupid plan. It only led to more pain. I had to be smarter than them if I wanted to live. So I stopped fighting. I let them take me, and I did exactly what they said. I became the obedient girl they wanted, but inside my head, I was not obedient at all. I was making a plan. My mind was working fast, looking for any chance to escape this house. I would pretend to be broken while I waited for my moment to run. My new hope did not last long. The next day, the door burst open. The men were back, and they were angry. They dragged the young guard into the room with them, the one who tried to help me. His face was pale with fear. The boss looked at me and laughed a cruel, cold laugh. "Did you really think you could escape?" he sneered. "This fool told us everything. He confessed he was planning to help you run away." My heart shattered into a million pieces. All my secret plans were gone. I was so stupid. The men turned their full attention to the guard. He dropped to his knees and started begging. "Please, boss, spare my life. I have a family," he cried. But the boss's face was like stone. He pulled a small silver gun from inside his coat. "You betrayed my trust," the boss said, his voice cold and quiet, "and I do not give second chances." The gunshot was deafening in the small room. I watched in horror as the guard fell to the floor, lifeless. I finally understood the truth. There was no room for mistakes here. The boss turned his cold eyes on me. He lit a cigarette and blew the smoke right in my face. "This is what you get when you try to run away," he said, his voice flat and empty. "From now on, you will feed the dogs in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, and you will get no food or water. This is your punishment." Other guards came and dragged the guard's body away.
A terrible hopelessness washed over me. Any fight I had left inside me was gone. I was truly trapped here. Later that day, I heard voices through the thin wall. I knew one of them. It was Lena. She was talking to the boss. He sounded angry. "You only brought 2 girls?" he asked her. "We need them all by the end of the week for the ritual." My blood ran cold. The ritual. So it was true. Lena was bringing more girls to this place, not just for the dogs, but to be killed. Seeing their innocent faces as they were led down the hall broke what was left of my heart. This was so much bigger than I ever imagined. By nightfall, they gathered all of us, 10 girls, crying and shaking with fear. They pushed us onto a large black bus, treating us like animals. My heart pounded as I climbed inside. This was it. They were taking us to the ritual. The bus drove onto the highway, passing police checkpoints, but the officers never stopped us. They just saw the bus and waved it through. I understood then that these men owned everyone, even the police. No one was coming to save us. We were on our way to die. The bus stopped suddenly in the middle of a dark, empty road. A few girls saw their chance. They broke a window and jumped out, running for their lives into the forest. The guards yelled and chased after them with their guns. I wanted to run, but Zara held me back. "Don't do it," she whispered. "You can't escape them." She was right. A few minutes later, the guards dragged the girls back onto the bus. They were beaten and bloody. They threw them on the floor like sacks of rice. Hope was a stupid thing to have. Zara's words were wise, but my heart was beating too fast to listen. The guards were gone and the bus door was open. It was now or never. I ignored her and ran. I ran harder than I have ever run in my life, deep into the dark woods. Branches scratched my face and stones cut my feet, but I did not stop. For 1 second, I thought I was free. I could not hear them anymore. Then, a hand grabbed me from behind. Cold metal pressed against my head. "Don't move," a man whispered. It was over. They dragged me back onto the bus. Zara just looked at me with sad eyes that said, "I told you so." We drove for many more hours until we arrived at a different mansion. This one was even scarier than the first. It was built like an old fortress, with high stone walls covered in moss. The air felt heavy and cold. They put chains on our hands and pushed us into a dark, cave-like room. "Here you will wait," one guard said. "Rich men will come to buy you for their rituals." We were no longer girls, we were products. The room they put us in was just one big, dark cage. The floor was dirt and straw, and the walls were cold, damp stone. We all huddled together in a corner, 10 girls who were strangers just a day ago. Now we shared the same terrible fate. Some girls cried quietly into their hands, others just stared into the blackness, their eyes empty and hopeless. We were not people to them anymore. We were just animals in a cage, waiting for the buyers to come and choose the one they wanted to kill. We did not have to wait long. Footsteps approached the cage. The first buyer was a rich man I recognized from my home village, a man named Chief Emeka. He looked us over like we were goats at a market. "I like this one," he said, pointing to a terrified girl. She screamed as they dragged her away. Just like that, we were 9. Soon after, a pastor came and bought another girl. With each sale, the cage felt colder, and my own turn felt closer. My fear was growing into a monster inside me. The next morning, another buyer came. This time, he pointed at Zara. I watched them pull her from the cage. She looked back at me, her face strangely calm. "Don't cry for me, Kira," she said, her voice quiet but strong. "I am happy I met you." They took her away, and I knew I would never see her again. Watching her go, something inside me changed. My fear turned into a hot, burning anger. I would not let them win. I would not let them break me like they broke her. I would survive. The sales continued until only 3 of us were left in the cage. I was numb. I felt nothing. The next buyer came. He was a tall man who looked clean and kind, but I knew better now. He walked slowly around our cage, looking at each of us carefully. After a long moment that felt like forever, he stopped in front of me. His eyes were not cold or cruel, just serious. He pointed a finger at me. "I will take this one," he said. This was it. My time had finally come. My anger was gone. My fear was gone. I was ready to die. The man paid for me, and the guards opened the cage door. I walked out, my head held high, ready for whatever came next. But the man did not drag me. His hand on my arm was gentle. He led me to a clean, expensive car, and we drove away. I expected him to take me to a dark forest for the ritual, but he did not. We drove for hours, leaving the scary fortress far behind. Soon I saw the bright lights of a city. He stopped in front of a normal house and told me to get out. I was so confused. The man led me inside the house. He gave me clean clothes to wear and a hot plate of food. He told me I was free now and did not need to be afraid. I did not understand. "Why are you helping me?" I asked him. Just then, the front door opened. I could not believe my eyes. It was Lena. Tears were streaming down her face. "Kira, I am so sorry," she cried. "I couldn't let them kill you. I used all my money, all my savings to pay that man to buy you." I stood there, shocked. I ran and hugged her, crying into her shoulder. The woman who destroyed my life had also saved it. "I am trapped too, Kira," she whispered, her voice full of pain. "They know where my family lives. If I ever tried to leave, they would kill them all. I hate what I do, but I have no choice." She pulled back and looked at me, her eyes burning with a new fire. "But I couldn't let them kill you. We have to stop them. We have to fight back, together." For the first time since I met her, Lena and I were on the same team. We were no longer predator and prey. We were 2 survivors. We spent the whole night talking, making a plan. We knew we could not go to the police. The syndicate owned them. We had to do this ourselves. "I know their weaknesses, Kira," Lena said, her voice low and serious. "I know how they operate. We will bring their whole evil world down from the inside." A new feeling started to grow in my heart, replacing the fear. It was hope. Our plan was risky, but it was the only one we had. Lena had to go back to the mansion. She would have to act like she was still their loyal worker, bringing them girls and making them money. She told me she would suggest they have a big party to celebrate their success. At this party, she would offer to cook all the food herself. In that food, she would mix a deadly poison. It was a plan that could easily get her killed, but it was our only chance to finish them all for good. Lena went back to the mansion, and the men welcomed her. They were already drinking and laughing loudly. She went to the kitchen and started to cook their favorite foods. Her hands were shaking so much she was afraid she would drop something, but she kept a smile on her face. As the rich smell of the stew filled the house, she reached into her bag. She pulled out a small, clear bottle. This was it. She quickly poured the poison into the pot and stirred it in. In that moment, the party's noise sounded very far away. Lena brought the food to the dining room. The men were smiling and ready to eat. But just as the boss picked up his fork, he stopped. He looked at Lena with suspicious eyes. "You first," he said. "Taste it." Lena's heart almost stopped beating, but she smiled. She took a small bite and chewed it carefully. She pretended to swallow, but really, she hid the food in her cheek. The men laughed, satisfied. They started eating like hungry wolves. While they ate, Lena quietly slipped out of the room. She was free. Lena did not look back. She just kept running. Back at the mansion, the poison started to work. One by one, the men began to feel sick. They grabbed their stomachs and fell to the floor in terrible pain. Soon, every man who ate the food was dead. But the plan was not perfect. One man was still alive. He was the one who did not trust Lena. He never took a single bite of her food. He looked at the bodies of his partners, his face filled with rage. "She will pay for this," he whispered. Lena and I learned a terrible truth. The men she poisoned were not the real leaders. They were just workers, the lowest level of the syndicate. The man who survived called the true leaders. They were a secret group of powerful men from all over the world. They called themselves the High Council. When they heard what Lena had done, they were not just angry, they were amused. "Find the girl," their leader said over the phone, "and bring her to us. She will learn what happens when you challenge a king." Our small war had just become much bigger. Lena and I met up and took a bus to a faraway state. We thought we were finally safe and could start a new life. But the freedom did not last long. As we walked through the city, we started to notice things. A strange car seemed to be on every street we were on. A man with a scar on his face seemed to appear wherever we went. They were watching us. They had found us already. The High Council was everywhere. We were not running from a few men anymore. We were running from a whole army. We were running out of places to hide. We needed to find a safe house. We walked into a poor part of town where nobody would look for us. There, we found an old man sitting in front of his small home. He had kind eyes, so we trusted him. His name was Mr. Adebayo. We told him our whole story, hoping he would protect us. He promised we were safe. But that night, while we slept, he called the High Council. He told them where we were hiding. He chose money over our lives.
A bad dream woke me up. My heart was beating so fast. Then I heard footsteps outside, too many to be normal. I looked through a crack in the curtains and saw dark shapes moving, surrounding the house. Men with guns. I shook Lena awake. "They found us! They're here!" I whispered, my voice shaking with terror. Lena's face went hard and serious. "Kira, you have to run. Go out the back door right now," she commanded. "No, I can't leave you," I cried. "Go, I will buy you some time," she insisted, pushing me away. With tears in my eyes, I ran out the back door and into the dark, empty street. My heart was breaking for leaving Lena behind. Just as I started to run, I heard a loud crash from inside the house. The men were in. I kept running, not daring to look back. Inside, Lena used the chaos of their entry to her advantage. She grabbed a kitchen knife and fought like a wild animal. In the confusion, she slipped out the back door and ran in the opposite direction, disappearing into the thick bush. We were both free, but we were separated, and they were hunting us both. I was not a street fighter like Lena. I was just a girl who was good at running away from her problems. The men who were chasing me were professionals. They were fast, and they knew the city much better than I did. It did not take them long to find me. I was hiding in a dark alley, too tired to even cry. One of them put a cloth over my mouth. It had a strange, sweet smell. The whole world went dark. I woke up in a cage, in a place that made the first mansion look like a playground. Lena was safe.
but she did not feel free. The guilt of leaving me behind was a heavy weight on her heart. She could not just run away and save herself. She had to know what happened to me. So she went back. She went back to the dangerous forest where we had separated. She found my footprints in the dirt and the marks of a struggle. She knew then that they had taken me. In that moment, she made a choice. She would not run anymore. I will find you, Kira. I will get you back.